Today, we've got a simple project for those of you who are still learning to use a swivel knife, but it's bigger than the 4-leaf clover that we did in the past. That's coming up. Hello everyone, my name is Daniel Reese. This is Weaver Leather Supply. Today, we're going to be taking on this pattern right here. And one of the reasons I love it is because if you're new to this and you're still learning to use a swivel knife, this pattern is great because it's simple enough and big enough to really give you some good practice. But if you're a seasoned pro and you've been around for a while and you know what you're doing, well, this is going to be a pattern that you can really enhance and add a lot to. As always, I've already taken care of the prep steps. That would be taping, casing, and tracing, which means we can jump in. This pattern is a great example of a swivel knife cut that's blunt on one end and tapered on the other end. Now, you can go from the tapered end to the blunt end, but most of the time it's more of a natural cut if you'll start with the blunt end and pull to the tapered end, which means for this, I'm going to be starting at the base of the petal and pulling towards the tip. We can go ahead and drop in that flower center. I'm going to be using this one right here. I'll make sure there's a link in the description for you. Now we can go ahead and grab our modeling spoon, and as a general rule, the smaller the spoon, the darker of a mark that it's going to leave. So for this one, I want a pretty bold bevel on it, so I'm going to be using a medium-sized spoon. As you're working your way through the petals, you're going to have to decide which petal's on top and which one's underneath. Shadows are naturally going to push things into the background, so if you carry a shadow over the top of a petal, you're essentially pushing it into the background. So if you're not getting a lot of color when you use your modeling spoon, it's probably one of two different things. The first one could be that you need more moisture in the leather, so you might need to add more moisture and case it again. The other is you might not be pressing hard enough. Now, don't go crazy with it. It doesn't take a lot of pressure, but I mean, that's possible. Most of the time, it's going to be the casing. You need to recase the leather. As I'm working through it, I like to work one side of the petal, then the other. It just seems to go a little bit faster. Once we've got that done, including those small little petals in the middle, we can go back with the spoon and start adding in shadows around the base of the petal. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to work from the base towards the tip. I'm going to use the bowl of the spoon, and I'm going to try to create high spots and low spots. That's what's going to give us the illusion of a rolling petal down there at the base. Once that's done, I'm gonna go back and soften up some of those bevel lines. I wanna create shadows, not hard bevels. So I'm just gonna go back and soften those up with the spoon. In one of the upcoming videos, we're going to be using this project to demonstrate how to use a center shader. Now, we're not doing that in this video. That's going to be an upcoming video. So for now, let's take our modeling spoon and just work in a little bit of depth around that flower center. So one of the things we can do to create more depth is create contrast between shadows and highlights. Now, the way I'm going to do it in this step is I'm going to go back with the modeling spoon and round off one side of the petal. Now, you can do both sides of the petal if you want to. It'll just make it look like those petals are curving backward. But I want one side of it to have a good shadow. Shadows help create highlights, and together they create depth. As one of the last steps, I'm going to go in with a small spoon and pull it up the petal. This is going to help create some highlights for us. So really all that's left are those leaves in the background. We've got the stem and the lines coming off of that. Now we're going to be using this project to show how to use a leaf liner in an upcoming video. So for now, I'm just going to go in with the blade of my spoon and score those in. But if you want to go in, score them in, and then add shadows to them, that's totally up to you. I'm going to hold off on that just because we're going to be using this as a way to demonstrate how to use a leaf liner in an upcoming video. So not only are we going to be using this project to show how to use a center shader and a leaf liner, but I'm also going to use it to show you the difference between a pear shader and a thumbprint, and then an elongated pear shader. We're going to look at all of that. We're going to use this project for an upcoming video. But that's going to do it for this video. I will see you in the next one. In the meantime, go make something amazing.